In one of Theo Warner's recent discussion videos where he has discussions with other YouTubers, the point came up where they discuss whether religion should be considered superstition. And I thought that was an interesting idea for a topic, so that's what I'm going to talk about today. I'm not really going to address the conversation they had because I can't find the video anymore because Theo has all of his videos on private, and I can't really pinpoint any of the specifics that they talked about. So I'm just going to talk about the idea in general. I will say that Theo did make one comment that I thought was interesting, where he pointed out that religion is not specifically superstition because religion has things in it that are not in superstition, that are not superstitious things. For example, there are philosophies of life involved in religion, in the idea of religion, and that's not something that we find in superstition, and that's a good point. That was true. Also, I would add, and a point that he didn't make, that religions often encompass ideologies, and ideologies are not superstitions. That having been said, though, where is the line where superstition and religion diverge? And one thing that I thought about when I was thinking about this issue was that religion, absent superstition, isn't religion. It's philosophy. Because the ideas of life philosophy and ideology are philosophical ideas. Religion is only religion when you throw the superstition into it. So superstition, religion cannot be separated out from superstition, because when you do, it stops being religion. And I think this is true no matter what length you take the conversation to. Another way of thinking about it is when we think about the things that we consider to be superstitious, things like knocking on wood and throwing salt over your shoulder. These things go back to pagan ideas, and the pagan ideas are religious ideas, and we do them today because we as a people, we're culturally convinced that those things were necessary to do it for purposes of luck, and luck, when you get right down to it, is just a matter an issue of good spirits and bad spirits, and which ones you're courting. So anything that's considered lucky, a 4-leaf clover, a horseshoe, it all basically has religious undertones to it. There are things where superstitions are involved that are not religious, though. For example, you might have a football game tradition. Maybe you, for example, I know that at Ohio State they do the OHIO thing, and that becomes a superstitious thing for some people. Like if they don't do it, then they're jinxing the team, and none of that's religious. There's no religion involved in that. That's separate from religion, because when you're talking about doing something ritualistically that is not calling on the supernatural specifically, then it's not religious. But it is, however, superstitious and tied to the same kind of thinking that religious superstition is tied to. Another example of something superstitious that you might do that would not be religious is, let's say, for example, you're taking a test and you're wearing a certain pair of socks, and then you go to another class and you take the test, a different test, still wearing those socks, and then a week later you're tested again, and you realize that you were wearing the same socks that you happened to have on 2 weeks ago when you took those first two tests, and you scored well on those first two tests. If you score well on this third test, you might now consider those socks to be your lucky socks. And you're certainly not thinking there's anything spiritual about that. You're not thinking there's anything metaphysical about that. The whatever magical ideas you're attaching to the socks are not religion-based. But there are religious undertones to the kind of thinking that you're employing when you think that your socks are lucky, When you're thinking lucky, you're thinking magic. When you're thinking magic, you're thinking supernatural. When you're thinking supernatural, you're thinking religiously. Now, as far as religion being philosophical and ideological, and that meaning that it's not all supernatural, or it's not all superstitious, even the things in religion that are supernatural, or that are philosophical, philosophical ideas that you find in religion, are often tied to superstitious ideas. For example, people who are ideologically and philosophically opposed to gay marriage because of their religion are not ideologically and philosophically opposed to it for reasons that you can separate away from the superstitious aspects of religion. The idea of heaven, hell, punishment, torment is intrinsically tied into those philosophical and ideological ideas. So the fact that there is philosophy and ideology connected to religion does not always mean that you can separate out the superstition from it. So, since superstition is so intrinsically involved in the idea of what religion is, the question then becomes, can we call religion and superstition synonymous? Are they synonymous ideas? And basically, at most every level they are. But I admit that not at every single level are they intertwined. But that doesn't mean that you can't, in conversation, say that if somebody is religious, they are superstitious, or that you can't say, well, I don't believe in your superstitions when somebody asks you, why you don't follow their religion, because they are connected, and it is basically the superstition that drives you to be religious in a particular way in almost every case. Not in every case. And it's very possible that there are people, Theo perhaps, I don't know because he doesn't tell you what he thinks, but it's possible that there are people who follow a particular religion simply because of the philosophical ideas in that religion. But that really makes no sense to me. You can be a humanist and believe in the philosophical ideas of a given religion, but if you're following that religion, at some level, you're following its superstitions. There's no way not to. If you're going to services, that's all superstition. If you're going to just call yourself that religion culturally, for example, what does that mean if you're not culturally doing the things that it says to do? Prayer is a superstitious behavior. So prayer is a superstitious activity. You're calling on the universe the same way that a person with lucky socks is calling on the universe. So yes, religion is a superstition-dependent concept, in my opinion. Okay, now, for those of you who are wondering, what you're looking at here is a nice country drive that I took today. It's Wellsburg, West Virginia to Washington, Pennsylvania, and some of the scenery is just gorgeous. There's a beautiful house out there, beautiful lakes, lots of golf courses, and I thought you might enjoy the ride. So that's why I took you on the trip, and hope you enjoyed the view. The last little clip you're going to see is coming back off the bridge towards Steubenville, Ohio. So that's kind of an interesting view coming in there too. I meant to get more of the strata on the hillside, but forgot to reformat my camera and had to start it again. So that's why we missed that part. But yep, this is the Appalachian foothills in the summertime. This is what it looks like here. Hope you enjoy it. Have a good day.